Hi everyone, welcome to the webinar and workshop series conducted by TCS in lieu of the upcoming SCS exams happening in February 2025. My name is Nick and I'm the lead tutor and evaluator for SCS at TCS. So let's look at the session plan. First things first, I will be sharing a 3-week study plan with you. So if you're yet to start your preparations, you need not worry. You still have time to conduct your preparations because you have something like 3.5 weeks at your disposal. So if you are committed to the study plan, which I'm going to share with you in a little while, you can make sure that you cover all elements and be exam ready within just 3.5 weeks. However, if you are sticking to our original eight-week study plan, or I also shared a 5-week study plan with you as well. So if you are sticking to our original study plans, stick to it, keep moving forward. And on the other hand, as I mentioned earlier, if you're yet to start your preparations, simply stick to our 3-week study plan. And also, I will be sharing general feedback with you based on what I've understood by going through your answer scripts, because about 3 or 4 students had already completed their 4th mock exam, and I've already gone through the answers pertinent to what we have highlighted in mocks 2 and 3 as well, because about 17 or 18 students have already completed up until mock number 3. And I just went through, although we don't provide tutor feedback for them, I just went through your answers with the intention of understanding what your shortcomings are. And these issues, as well as how to overcome each of these issues, will be highlighted as the second part of today's session. And also, I will be taking you through one of our mock exams, mock exam 1, or our free mock exam to be precise, thereby directing your attention towards a question to do with debt covenants, which appear in your F3 syllabus. And I will be taking you through its answer plan, thereby explaining you the theoretical concept behind the question, and at the same time highlighting what you need to do with regards to application. And lastly, I will be conducting a Q&A, because since most of you are already done with at least 3 mock exams, definitely you will have questions, and I'm ready to answer each of your concerns. And before we get into the 3-week study plan, let me quickly remind you of the upcoming workshops which we have scheduled for you. So as you know, we are conducting workshops focused on P3 and F3 syllabi. And the next workshop is happening next Saturday at the same time, in which I'm going to take you through your P3 syllabus, just like what I'm going to do in today's session. I will be directing your attention towards the P3 syllabus. Also, I will be taking you through a question taken from mock exam 1 concerning your P3 syllabus. And I will also be conducting a Q&A similar to this session. And a similar approach will be adhered to in the 3rd webinar, in which I'm going to take you through the E3 syllabus. And the final workshop, which happens 2 or 3 days before your examination, I will be sharing last-minute tips with you to make sure that you walk into the exam with a higher level of positivity. So make use of these free resources on offer. Make sure to join these free webinars and workshops which we are conducting on a weekly basis, so that you can keep track of your performance by attending these sessions. Okay, so let me direct your attention towards the 3-week study plan. So as you can see, as I mentioned earlier, there are 3.5 weeks until your examination. So I've divided your time into 3 main weeks, and there's a separate exam week in which you will be attempting your examination. So first things first, start your preparations by watching the 3 pre-scene analysis videos which we have developed for you. So once you have watched these 3 pre-scene analysis videos, you will gain an in-depth understanding of your industry and what happens within your chosen company and what appears within the financial statements of your chosen company and its closest competitor. So as you know, your pre-scene is divided into 3 main parts, and focused on each part, we have developed pre-scene analysis videos. And mind you, these pre-scene analysis videos are based on the annotated pre-scene which we have developed. You will see what our annotated pre-scene looks like in a little while, because I'm going to show it to you. So once you have watched these 3 videos, you will gain an in-depth understanding of what appears within your pre-seen document. So you need not conduct your own research or try to spend a lot of time to figure out what appears within your pre-seen document. We have done it for you. So after gaining a good understanding of the pre-seen document, then in order to learn answering and time management techniques, watch the recorded version of webinar number 3. So we conducted this webinar 2 weeks back. However, since the recorded version is available, you can easily learn and understand answering and time management techniques, which are crucial to ensure that you develop answers, high quality answers at your exam, that you come up with well structured answers. Also, after learning these answering and time management techniques, you will understand how to work on your theory knowledge and application, and how to bring in theory, pre-seen information, and at the same time work on application in a successful manner in order to gain the most amount of marks at your real examination. Also, most students end up failing because they run out of time at the real exam. So if you keep repeating these answering and time management techniques, which we have covered when attempting each of the mock exams which we have developed for you, then you need not worry about running out of time, because once you have mastered answering and time management techniques across the 6 mock exams which we have developed, you will never run out of time at your real exam. So after watching this answering and time management, watching this webinar in which I've taught you answering and time management technique, you have to start attempting mock exams. So attempt mock number 1 via our exam platform. As you know, we have developed an exam platform which is the exact replica of the Pearson VUE system on which you attempt your real examination. So put your knowledge into test. Test your answering and time management techniques by attempting mock exam 1 via the exam platform. When you do so, you will realize that you run out of time. You will realize that you are not in a position to work on application in a successful manner. You will realize that you'd be exposed to stressful situations, and when you are exposed to stressful situations, you'd realize the fact that you'd be exposed to something called brain freeze. So I want you to encounter all these issues when attempting mock number 1, because it's best that you are exposed to these issues when conducting your preparations rather than at your real exam. So when attempting mock exam 1, you will face a lot of issues. That's totally fine, because as I mentioned earlier, if you face these issues right now, you will know how serious it is to focus your attention towards the study plan which we have developed. Because if you stick to the study plan, you will stand a chance to overcome each of these issues, and if so, you will be extremely comfortable at your real examination. So once you have attempted mock number 1, focus your attention towards mock number 2, and stick to a similar approach. Attempt mock number 2 via our exam platform, and once you have done so, watch master classes concerning mock number 2. So we have developed a set of master classes to make sure that you learn the theoretical elements covered within our mock exams concerning mocks 2 to 6, and at the same time, we have developed these master classes to make sure that you understand how to improve your application skills, because application is extremely crucial at this examination. Just because you know your theory, you cannot pass this exam. If you come up with highly theoretical answers, you won't pass this exam. Instead, it's all about applying your theoretical knowledge, considering what appears within each and every scenario. So the best way to learn theory and improve application is to watch the master classes. So after watching the master classes, you'd learn how to structure the answer, how to work on your application skills, and the relevant theoretical concepts you should use concerning the questions at hand. After learning these elements, test your knowledge. Test whether you have gained something out of these master classes by redeveloping answer plans. So if you are clueless about what these answer plans are, don't worry. I've taught you all these elements in the 3rd webinar, because whilst teaching you answering technique, I've mentioned something called an answer plan. So when it comes to typing out your answers, right after reading through each scenario, your job is to develop something called an answer structure or an answer plan. So when conducting your revision, your focus should be on improving your answer structures, improving your application skills. So with that in mind, focus your attention towards redeveloping answer plans focused on mock 2. So once you have redeveloped answer plans, compare your fresh answer plans to answer plans provided by TCS to figure out how you can further improve the quality of your answers. And once you're done with mock exam 2, direct your attention towards mock exam 3. So stick to this three-stepped approach focused on each mock exam. So attempt mock exam 3 via the exam platform. And when attempting this mock exam, you are trying to practice and get your grasp with answering and time management technique. After you have attempted the mock exam, watch master classes to learn theory and improve application. Then test your knowledge by redeveloping answer plans focused on mock 3, and further refine your knowledge, further refine your understanding about answering technique by comparing your fresh answer plans to TCS's answer plans. So stick to a similar approach concerning mock exam 4 as well. Attempt mock 4 under exam conditions, then watch master classes to learn theory and improve application, then redevelop answer plans concerning mock exam 4. And as you know, from mock exam 4 onwards, you will be receiving tutor feedback. So after receiving tutor feedback, focus on the subtasks which are highlighted in yellow. You will understand what I'm talking about when I take you through an answer script or feedback script in a little while. So you will see, once you receive tutor feedback, you'll see in certain elements, the subtasks will be highlighted in yellow. Focused on these subtasks, redevelop answer plans once more, thereby trying to figure out what your shortcomings are. You are trying to work on your answering technique, focused on the subtasks in which your performance was substandard. And stick to a similar approach concerning mocks 5 and 6 in week number 3. So as per our study plan, you are supposed to attempt 2 mock exams per week. It's not going to be easy, yet you still can get all these things done if you stick to the study plan. So as you see, as per our study plan, you are not supposed to waste time by going through your study texts or study notes by trying to learn theory, because you don't have enough time to learn theory. Even if you're conversant with theory, mostly you should focus your attention towards improving your application skills, because as I mentioned earlier, just because you know theory, if you don't know how to apply these theories concerning the information presented in each scenario, you won't get any marks at this exam. So it's crucial that you learn theory and at the same time improve application within this short period of time. That is exactly why we have developed 6 mock exams covering all syllabus areas. So you need not worry about syllabus coverage. We have covered all syllabus elements across the 6 mock exams. And the best way to work on your application is to learn by focusing on each mock exam. So attempt each mock exam to practice your answering and time management technique. Once you have attempted the mock exam, watch the master classes to learn theory and improve application. You will also understand, after watching each masterclass, you would also understand what you should have included within your answer. And then test your understanding, revise your knowledge by redeveloping answer plans on your own, and compare your fresh answer plans to TCS's answer plans. And if you stick to this approach, you can start relaxing towards the exam week, in which you are supposed to simply focus your attention towards redeveloping answer plans concerning all 6 mock exams. When you are redeveloping answer plans, it's as if you are going through the entire syllabus once more, and at the same time going through each and every mock exam in depth, and revising or reminding yourself about what to do with regards to structuring answers. And reread the annotated pre-scene one last time, so that you revise your understanding about what appears within the pre-scene, and stop all work 2 days before the exam and start resting. I don't want you to be stressed or pressured when you're walking into the examination, because as I've mentioned throughout this webinar and workshop series, the examiner is trying to replicate a real life corporate environment. So it's as if you are walking into office and checking your email before coming up with your responses. So if you were up till late and on the previous day, let's assume it's as if you are walking into office on a Monday. So during the weekend, if you were up till late, or if you are exposed to extreme levels of stress, if you didn't eat on time, if you if you got sleep only for about 2 to 3 hours on a daily basis, then you will be stressed on a Monday. If so, you are not poised to do your job in a successful manner. So the best approach to pass this examination is to make sure that you do all the hard yards in the upcoming 3 weeks, and in the examination week, start relaxing, stop all work 2 days before the exam. You have to be calm and composed. With that in mind, start relaxing both mentally and physically. If so, at the examination, you will operate with a high level of open-mindedness. It's crucial that you achieve a high level of open-mindedness at this examination, because 85% of the time, the examiner will be testing your application skills. So in order to come up with answers which are totally aligned with the information presented in each scenario, you have to achieve a high level of open-mindedness. So that is exactly why I want you guys to stop work 2 days before the exam. If you do so, you'll be extremely successful at the exam. So in the upcoming weeks, stick to the study plan and start relaxing closer to the examination. And if so, you will walk into the exam with a high level of confidence, knowing very well that you have attempted all 6 mock exams, not just attempted 6 mock exams. You have conducted your revision focused on the same 6 mock exams. And at the same time, you will be calm and composed because you have, started relaxing closer to the examination, or in the examination week. If so, you will be operating with a high level of open-mindedness. And this type of open-mindedness is going to be extremely crucial for you at your real examination. So I hope you'd stick to this 3-week study plan. And after this session, I will share this 3-week study plan with you via our WhatsApp group. And I urge you guys to stick to this study plan strictly. If so, you will be successful at your real examination. Okay. So having said that, I want to direct your attention towards general feedback, because as I mentioned earlier, I've gone through your mock exams, and I figured out that you have committed these, you were exposed to these issues, and that's quite normal because we have asked you to attempt the mock exams under exam conditions with the intention of ensuring that you face these type of issues, because if you face these issues when conducting your preparations, you'd know what to do to overcome these issues when conducting your preparations, rather than facing these issues for the first time at your real examination. So when going through your answers, I figured out that some of you had deflected from the task requirement, especially concerning mock number 1. Most of the answers provided under the questions which appear under mock number 1 were not really aligned with the requirement 100%. This is quite normal because this is your first mock attempt. So when attempting mock exam 1, although you have learned your answering and time management techniques by watching, by attending the 3rd webinar, or by watching the recorded version of the 3rd webinar, you will be definitely struggling with developing answers which are totally aligned with each requirement. So what did I suggest in the 3rd webinar? With the intention of ensuring that you develop answers which are totally aligned with each requirement, I said that you are supposed to reiterate each requirement in your own words in a concise manner. So let me quickly remind you what I was talking about. So, this is a question taken from section number 3 of mock exam 1. And let's look at subtask 1. The requirement is to recommend with reasons how we should finance the initial escrow setup and integration costs of $300 million and the annual escrow management fee of $200 million. So this is a lengthy requirement. So as per the answering technique, which I shared with you via the 3rd webinar, I said that before you develop something called an answer plan, you are supposed to reiterate this requirement in your own words in a concise manner. Why did I ask you to do this? With two objectives in mind. Objective number one is to gain a clear understanding of the requirement, because if you gain a clear understanding of the requirement, your answers will be 100% aligned with the requirement. If so, you will gain the most amount of marks. So that's the first objective of simplifying this requirement in your own words. And the second objective is to make sure that whilst developing your answer plan, you can always refer back to a simplified requirement and see whether you are headed in the correct direction. You can easily check whether your answer is totally aligned with each requirement. So this is the requirement which appears within the mock exam. And if you had gone through our answer plans, you know what I'm talking about. You are supposed to reiterate each requirement in your own words, thereby simplifying the requirement. I've simplified the requirement as simply. I've mentioned how to finance IS investments. So this requirement is quite lengthy. This requirement has everything to do with IS investments. Recommend with reasons how we should finance the initial escrow setup and integration costs of $300 million and the annual escrow management fee of $200 million. So I've simplified it as how to finance IS investments. So when you simplify your requirement, you can gain an in-depth understanding of the requirement clearly, and at the same time, whilst developing the answer plan, you can always refer back to a simplified requirement and see whether you are headed in the correct direction. And let's look at subtask C. Recommend with reasons the approach that we should take to manage the currency risks associated with the annual escrow management fee in future years. So I've simplified the requirement as how to manage currency risks. So when you have a simplified requirement, it makes your life easy, especially when you are operating in a time-pressured environment. Okay, so in order to overcome the first issue, now you know what you should do. So this takes some practice. Keep repeating this technique over and over across the 6 mock exams. And by the time you are done with the first 3 mock exams, you will gain a good understanding of how you should simplify each requirement and what type of benefits are on offer if you simplify each requirement. And when going through your answers, I understood that especially in mocks 1 and 2, concerning certain theoretical elements, I understood that some of you lack theoretical knowledge. This is quite normal, especially if you are coming through an exemption route. Because although you land at SCS by coming through FLP, C-suite, or some other exemption route, there will definitely be some type of theoretical gaps or knowledge gaps, because you can't cover all elements via the resources on offer under the FLP competency framework. So you can't cover all elements, so definitely there will be theoretical gaps. And when going through your answers, I understood that there are severe knowledge gaps. And at the same time, even if you knew theory, I spotted the fact that some of you are struggling with application most of the time. Even if you had understood which theoretical element you should use when developing your answers, you have resorted to explaining theoretical concepts rather than actually speaking how to use these theoretical concepts in a practical manner. So for instance, always remember when attempting a mock exam, when conducting your revision, always remember what your role is. You are trying to play the role of a senior finance manager who is reporting to the CFO or some other board member. So always think that when addressing or attempting each question, always think that you are actually receiving an email from your boss, who is the CFO. So if you are receiving an email from the CFO, will you try to explain theories to your CFO, or will you try to address the requirement at hand? At office, what would you do? So let's assume your company in which you work, your company is faced with an issue with regards to managing stakeholders. So your boss is asking for your opinion about what we need to do to manage stakeholders, and your boss will explain the type of issues created by different types of stakeholders. So if you had learned your E3 syllabus, you know for a fact that when trying to manage stakeholders, you need to utilize your knowledge pertaining to the Mendelov matrix. So as per the Mendelov matrix, you are supposed to understand the level of power and the level of interest of each stakeholder when trying to, or before trying to manage each type of stakeholder. So when responding to your boss or your CFO or whoever, if you start your answer or if you start your response by explaining the Mendelov matrix, then is it adding value? Are you addressing the requirement at hand? Are you adding value to your answer? Absolutely not, because your boss is not interested to learn theoretical concepts. Instead, the boss wants you to highlight what we need to do to manage each type of stakeholder. So I've explained all these things in depth in the third webinar, because in the third webinar I've taken you through a question to do with stakeholder management. So when developing answers, your role is to utilize your theoretical knowledge. If it's something to do with managing stakeholders, use your knowledge about Mendelov matrix, and based on the level of power and interest of each stakeholder, come up with ways and means of managing each stakeholder. However, you are not supposed to explain these theories in depth. Instead, consider the information at hand, and with the intention of coming up with a holistic answer, utilize the theoretical knowledge pertaining to Mendelov matrix, which we have gained via your E3 syllabus. So if you watch the master classes, you will understand how to bring in theoretical knowledge, and when bringing in theoretical knowledge, how to do it in a successful manner, thereby solely focusing your attention towards application rather than resorting to explain theoretical elements. And in mock number 3, yes, in mock number 3, one or two students had, there was a question about the SCS framework, suitability, acceptability, and feasibility framework. One or two students had addressed it properly, but most students had simply explained the theoretical concepts behind the SCS framework. So out of the entire answer, 2/3 of the answer is focused towards explaining the theoretical elements. Your CFO is not interested to learn about the SCS framework. Instead, your CFO is asking you to evaluate different strategic options at hand. So your role is not to explain theoretical elements. So bear that in mind. When going through your answers, I understood that there's a lack of theoretical knowledge. And at the same time, even when you knew theory, when I understood that you know the relevant theoretical element, you have struggled with application. So with the intention of improving your theory knowledge and application, watch our master classes, because we have developed these master classes with the prime intention of teaching you the theoretical elements covered within each mock exam, and at the same time highlighting how you should work on application. Also, after watching each masterclass, redevelop answer plans, which is the best way to improve your answering technique, which is the best way to ensure that you are capable of structuring your answers appropriately, and at the same time, improve your application skills. So you can overcome these issues by watching masterclasses and redeveloping answer plans. Also, I figured out that some of you had struggled with understanding how many points you need to include within each answer. So as I've highlighted in the third webinar, answering technique, I mentioned the fact that you are supposed to understand mark allocations based on the weightages provided. So let me quickly take you to one of the mock exams. So as you can see, the weightage provided under subtask A is 50%. So in total, 50 marks are allocated for section number 3. So 50% of 50 marks come up to 25 marks in total. So in order to gain 25 marks, how many points you should come up with? So each valid point is allocated 2 or 3 marks. So divide 25 by 2 or 25 by 3, then you will come up with, you will gain an understanding of how many points you need to include under each subtask. You will gain an in-depth understanding of how to get this right when I'm taking you through the second subtask or subtask B, because when taking you through after taking you through the F3 syllabus, I said that I will be directing your attention towards a question taken from mock exam 1. And when doing so, I will be explaining the answer behind subtask B, and then I will explain how you should identify how many points you need to include under subtask B. So look at the weightage. Based on the weightage, determine mark allocations. Once you have understood mark allocations, divide it by 2 or 3, because each valid point carries 2 or 3 marks. And once you have done so, you can easily understand how many points should appear under each subtask. So that's that. And there were issues with expanding the answer plans as well. So especially towards the last section of each mock exam, I spotted this issue. Most of you had resorted to simply including just the answer plan within your answer, probably because of fatigue. Because you know for a fact that you are not attempting your real exam. Instead, you are doing a mock exam. So there's a tendency for you to do a serious job in the first 2 requirements, but towards the last requirement, because of fatigue, because of stress levels being high, there's a tendency for you to provide half-hearted answers or include just the answer plan. So once you have developed the answer plan, your last step is to expand the answer plan in paragraph form. So when developing an answer plan, you should come up with something like this. This is the answer structure. And once you have done so, when it comes to finalizing your answer, per each point, you need to develop a paragraph. So your final answer should be in paragraph form, and each paragraph should be in 2 to 4-line sentences. So I highlighted all these things in the third webinar. So it's crucial, if you missed out on it, it's crucial that you watch it. So if you have issues with expanding the answer plan, don't worry. We have shared suggested answers with you. So compare the answer plans which we have provided for each mock exam with the suggested answers. Then you will gain a good understanding of what you need to do when it comes to expanding each of your answer points. And time management was a problem. Especially in mock exam 1, you guys have run out of time in most instances, but those who are in mock number 3 or 4, I see a significant improvement in the way in which you are managing your time, because students who had run out of time in their first 2 mock exams, they are not running out of time in mocks 3 and 4, which indicates the fact that you have got your bearings with the answering and time management techniques. So that's exactly why I said just learning these techniques won't help. You need to keep repeating these techniques over and over across the 6 mock exams. If you do so, it's as if you are repeating these techniques 18 times over before you walk into your real exam. That's enough and more practice for you to get these elements right at your real exam. So that's the feedback which I wanted to share with you. So I'm pretty sure if you had attempted mock exams, you have encountered 1 or 2 or many or all of these issues. That's quite all right. Keep moving forward. Stick to the answering and time management technique. And if you do so, you will be in a position to overcome each of these issues when you are attempting your real exam. Okay, so having said that, before we move on to the mock exam discussion, let me quickly tell you what we offer at TCS. So I'm on the SCS page. If you're yet to check the free content, click on this button and create a free user account. Once you have created a free user account, you can access our dashboard. Via our dashboard, go to my courses, and in front of SCS free, you would see the access content button. Click on it. And once you have done so, you'd gain access to the recorded versions of the webinars and workshops, which we conduct on a weekly basis. If you are yet to watch the recorded version of the third webinar, answering technique, you can watch the recorded version via the exam platform itself. And you'd also gain access to study material. You'd gain access to the pre-seen mind map, which is a crucial resource. So download this pre-seen mind map and on a daily basis, go through this pre-seen mind map. This pre-seen mind map is a good summary of the entire pre-scene, which makes your life easy when it comes to remembering the most important points which appear within your pre-scene document. So download it via the student dashboard. You'd also gain access to the syllabus coverage document when conducting your preparations, when attempting your mock exams. Keep ticking this document. Then you will gain a greater level of confidence about the fact that you have, by attempting the 6 mock exams, you have covered all syllabus elements. And you'd also gain access to the answer plan of the free mock exam via the free content. And under the mocks tab, you'd gain access to the question as well as the suggested answer of the free mock exam. And under the exams tab, you have the opportunity of attempting mock exam 1 under exam conditions. This is an exam standard and pre-scene specific mock exam, which runs for 3 hours. And as I mentioned earlier, you have the opportunity of practicing your answering and time management techniques under exam conditions via an exam platform, which is the exact replica of the Pearson VUE system. So this is the best way to improve your answering and time management techniques, and at the same time be exposed to stressful situations. I want you guys to be exposed to stressful situations when conducting your preparations rather than at your real examination for the first time. Okay, so you'd gain access to all these free content via our free user account. So please create a free user account if you are yet to create one. And if you are interested in investing on our paid content, click on this button and check the sample material before you invest. And if you're yet to join the SCS WhatsApp discussion forum, click on this button and join it. Via this group, I will be keeping you guys informed about the commencement times and dates of the weekly webinars and workshops. And at the same time, I will be sharing free resources with you. And also, if you have any questions or concerns, I'm always there to help you guys out. So if you're yet to join the SCS WhatsApp group, click on this button and join it. And talking about what we offer 2 packages, the value pack and the premium pack. The value pack is designed for those who are coming through the CIMA general route. If you are such a student, you have already completed your E3, F3, and P3 OTQs, which indicates the fact that you have already learned theory. So if you had learned theory, you should only focus your attention towards improving your application skills. So if you are such a student, and if you're confident or comfortable with 100% self-learning, go for the value pack. Under the value pack, you would get access to the recordings of all weekly webinars and workshops. You will gain access to 6 mock exams with suggested answers. So on top of mock exam 1, which is our free mock exam, you will gain access to 5 additional mock exams. And as I've mentioned earlier, we have made sure to cover all syllabus elements across the 6 mock exams which we have developed. Also, you'd gain access to the pre-scene analysis videos, 3 videos in total. Once you have watched these 3 videos, you will gain an in-depth understanding of what appears within your pre-scene. You will also gain access to the annotated pre-scene, industry analysis, and financial analysis slides. So let me quickly show you what the annotated pre-scene looks like. So we have come up with tutor annotations with 3 objectives in mind. Objective number 1 is to summarize the entire pre-scene so that you gain a clearer understanding of what appears within your pre-scene document. Also, we have indicated probable exam scenarios which can be tested based on the information hidden within your pre-scene document. And at the same time, we have mentioned probable syllabus elements which can be tested at your exam as part of these annotations as well. So once you gain access to this annotated pre-scene, you stand a chance to gain a good understanding of the entire pre-scene easily. Also, you'd understand probable exam scenarios which can be thrown at you at your real exam, and aligned with these scenarios, you'd understand what type of syllabus elements can be tested at the exam. And we have made sure to cover the same syllabus elements and scenarios when developing our 6 mock exams. Also, you'd gain access to the industry analysis slides, and this is divided into 4 main parts. In the first part, we have defined your industry. And in the second and third parts, we have explained the industry dynamics, thereby directing your attention towards the competitive landscape and industry trends. And based on these industry trends, scenarios will be thrown at you at your real exam. And at the very end, concerning 2 real-life companies, we have provided real-world examples with the intention of ensuring that you understand how real-life companies operate within your industry. And a similar approach had been carried out with regards to the financial analysis slides. We have evaluated each financial statement which appears towards the very end of your pre-seen document. And although we have evaluated each financial statement in depth, we have made sure to keep things simple so that you can easily understand what appears under each financial statement. So we have evaluated the SOPL, the SOFP, and the statement of changes in equity. And we have also conducted a ratio analysis, which is crucial at this stage. And we have evaluated each ratio. And when doing so, we have compared the performance of your chosen company, Rotomyne, against its closest competitor, Let's Dig, because you would have seen that the financial statements of your closest competitor, Let's Dig, appears within your pre-seen as well. So the examiner has shared financial statements of your closest competitor so that you stand a chance of comparing your performance, your company's performance against Let's Dig's, and understand where we stand in a competitive sense. And once you have gained access to these financial analysis slides, you can easily gain an understanding of what appears within both your company's financial statements as well as its closest competitors' financial statements. And you'd also gain access to the top 20 likely issue slides, which indicate the most probable scenarios which can be tested at your exam. You will gain access to a case study familiarization kit. Once you have gone through this kit within 10 to 15 minutes, you can gain an in-depth understanding about the technicalities behind your exam. You'd also gain access to a tutor-managed live chat and OTQ revision cards. So after attempting each mock exam, if you feel that you struggled with a certain syllabus element, or if you feel that you can't remember a theoretical concept clearly, simply refer to the OTQ revision cards to brush up your knowledge in a jiffy. So the value pack is priced at £299. And talking about the premium pack, this is designed for those who are coming through the exemption route and those who had failed the SCS exam previously. So both these type of students have the same problem. There are gaps in theory knowledge and issues with application. So we have come up with additional resources and included them under the premium pack with the intention of ensuring that you learn theory and improve application within a short period of time. So in addition to what appears under the value pack, you'd also gain access to the online mock exam platform on which you can attempt all 6 mock exams under exam conditions, which is the best way to master your answering, time management, and stress management techniques. And you'd also gain access to one-on-one tutor feedback on the last 3 mock exams, namely mocks 4, 5, and 6. Let me quickly show you the type of feedback we offer at TCS. As you can see, we have evaluated each point in depth. And when providing tutor feedback, our objective is to highlight a shortcoming if there is any, and at the same time explain what you need to do to overcome each of your shortcomings. So this is the best way to ensure that you significantly improve your chances of passing, because when conducting your preparations, one of your objectives should be to understand your shortcomings and also figure out what you need to do to overcome each of these shortcomings. And if you opt for tutor feedback, this is exactly what you'd achieve. You will understand your shortcomings and also know what you need to do to overcome each of your shortcomings. And throughout this answer script, you can see the type of feedback which we have offered, in-depth feedback to be precise. And then we provide mark allocations on a subtask by subtask basis. I was talking about subtasks highlighted in yellow. This is exactly that. On top of mark allocations, we have also come up with a success rate, which indicates the subtasks in which your performance was substandard, which are highlighted in yellow. So after receiving tutor feedback, your job is to redevelop answer plans, focus on the subtasks highlighted in yellow, thereby taking steps solely focused on the subtasks in which you have been unsuccessful, thereby taking steps to overcome your shortcomings when conducting your revision. And at the very end, we provide general comments as well. So that's the type of feedback you'd receive if you opt for the premium pack. You'd also gain access to answer plans of all 6 mock exams. In a little while, you will see what an answer plan looks like. Once you gain access to these answer plans, it makes your life easy especially when understanding application and learning theory, because rather than you having to go through pages and pages of suggested answers and based on them figure out the logic behind each answer, you can easily get an in-depth understanding of how to structure your answers, how to work on your application when you have these answer plans at your disposal. And this helps you with revision as well, because as per our study plan, you are supposed to conduct your revision thereby redeveloping answer plans. And when it comes to redeveloping answer plans, after you have redeveloped answer plans, compare your fresh answer plans to TCS's answer plans to further refine your answering technique. And you'd also gain access to 15 master classes. Again, in a little while, you'd understand what is covered or how we conduct our master classes, because I'm going to take you through one of the questions. And when doing so, when explaining its answer, you will experience how we conduct our master classes. So likewise, focused on mocks 2 to 6, because I've explained certain elements, and I will also be explaining certain elements of mock number 1 in the workshop series. So because of that, we have not developed master classes focused on mock exam 1, but from mock exam 2 to 6, you will gain access to 15 master classes in total, which are all mock exam specific. So in each mock exam, there are 3 sections. 3 sections into 5 mocks come up to 15 sections in total. So focused on each of these sections, we have developed a masterclass with the intention of achieving 3 objectives. Number 1 is to take you through the logic of each answer, and at the same time teach you the theoretical concepts covered within each mock exam, also to teach you application skills. So the best and easiest way to learn theory and improve application is to gain access to these master classes. And once you have access to all these resources, you will pass for sure. That's why we provide a pass guarantee for the premium package. So if you invest on the premium package and end up failing, you will gain access to the premium content in your subsequent sitting free of charge. However, in order to claim the pass guarantee, you have to complete these 3 requirements. You have to complete all 6 mock exams under exam conditions. If not, you will be testing your luck at your real exam. Just because you invest on premium, if you don't attempt all 6 mock exams, you are not taking steps to cover all syllabus elements when conducting your preparation. So it's crucial that you attempt all 6 mocks. And when attempting each mock exam, attempt it on your own. Don't refer to any of the answers. Don't refer to the suggested answers, answer plans, or master classes. I want you guys to attempt each mock exam on your own. When doing so, try to come up with your own logic. Try to give your best shot and see where you stand as a student, because one of the objectives of attempting mocks under exam conditions is to understand your shortcomings. Because if you understand your shortcomings, you can take steps to overcome them when watching the master classes and when it comes to redeveloping answer plans. So attempt each mock exam on your own without referring to any answers. Try to figure out where you stand as a student and what your shortcomings are. And also, I want you guys to meet the performance criteria of 40% or higher focused on the last 3 mock exams. We have come up with this criteria to make sure that you do a serious job when attempting the last 3 mock exams, especially given the fact that you are receiving tutor feedback for them. Once you have completed these 3 requirements, you will pass for sure. That is why we provide the pass guarantee under the premium pack. So the premium pack is priced at £899, which can be paid in 2 installments of £449 each. Or if you have to opt to pay in full, you stand a chance of saving £100. If so, the price is going to be just £799. So you can invest on your preferred package by clicking on either of these buttons. So let me quickly direct your attention towards the original 8-week study plan. Some of you are sticking to this original study plan. And if you are one such student, let's try to figure out what you are supposed to do within this week. So we are in week number 5, according to the 8-week study plan. And you are supposed to dedicate 9 hours of study time within this week and direct your attention towards mock number 4. So attempt mock exam 4 via the exam platform, which is the best way to master or practice your answering, time management, and stress management techniques. Once you are done with mock number 4, watch the 3 master classes to learn theory and improve application. Then you'd learn what you need to do to structure your answers effectively. Then conduct your revision, thereby testing your knowledge. Test whether you have gained something out of the master classes by redeveloping answer plans focused on mock exam 4. And from this mock exam onwards, you will receive tutor feedback. So, refer to tutor feedback to understand what your shortcomings are. And if any of your subtasks are highlighted in yellow when you receive marks, then focused on these subtasks again, develop answer plans on your own with the intention of further refining your answering technique or overcoming your shortcomings. So stick to the 3-step process. Attempt the mock exam, watch master classes to learn theory and improve application, then refine your answering technique by redeveloping answer plans. So you need to dedicate 9 hours of study time within this week, as you have done so in the previous weeks. All right, so that's what we offer. And if you're yet to start preparations, I shared a 3-week study plan with you at the inception of this session. So you can still make sure that you cover all elements by sticking to our 3-week study plan. Okay, so having said that, let's move on to the discussion of mock exam. So I'm going to take you through a question to do with your F3 syllabus. So before I take you through this mock exam, let's quickly try to understand what type of syllabus elements can be tested at your exam concerning the F3 syllabus. So under F3, finance strategy, your knowledge pertaining to financing options will be tested. So debt versus equity financing will definitely be tested at this exam. So there will be a question about the company opting for some type of an investment. It could be a situation where we are trying to do something new, or we are opting for a related diversification, or simply we might be trying to expand the size of our business. So when doing so, definitely we will need additional funding. So when opting for additional funding, you need to know whether we should opt for debt or equity. And if we opt for debt, you need to know how to evaluate such an initiative by looking at the gearing ratio. Also, when opting for debt, you can bring in the interest cover into consideration as well. So all these elements are covered within our mock exams. And on top of that, when opting for equity, there are hordes of options at our disposal. We can go for a fresh share issue, or we can opt for a rights issue, which is a situation where we sell our shares to existing shareholders rather than going for a general issue, which is open to everybody, both existing as well as new shareholders out there. So you need to have the capability of conducting an evaluation based on financing options, thereby considering debt and equity, and based on your evaluations, recommending to the board. If the board is asking for recommendations, you should have the capability to recommend to the board the best type of financing which we should go for. You should have the capability to explain to the board as to whether we should opt for debt or whether we should opt for equity. So when doing so, you have to base on the arguments which you have presented when conducting your evaluation. So an exam standard question on financing options is covered within mock exam 1 in subtask A, section 3 subtask A. And also you'd have to demonstrate your credit worthiness to lenders, because when opting for additional funding or opting for additional debt financing, or when dealing with a different type of creditor or a bank, you will have to explain or demonstrate the fact that we are credit worthy. If not, a new lender or a new creditor won't lend money to us. So you should know what we need to cover when demonstrating our credit worthiness to a new set of lenders or a new set of creditors. So all these elements are covered within one of our mock exams. And you also should have a good understanding of how to handle a rights issue. Definitely this will be tested at the exam, because under equity financing, one of the options at our disposal is to opt for rights issue. So when doing so, you need to understand what you need to cover, or what you have to consider when opting for a rights issue. Then if you're opting for debt, especially when opting for additional debt, Your knowledge pertaining to debt covenants will be tested at the exam, because if we breach debt covenants, it will impact the company in a negative manner, both the company and creditors in a negative manner. So these elements will be tested at the exam. And in today's session, I will be taking you through a question to do with debt covenants. And also, your knowledge pertaining to company valuation will be tested. So at your exam, there could be a scenario where we are going to acquire a company. It could be a startup, or it could be an existing player within the industry. So when going for this type of an acquisition, you'd have to value the company. So your knowledge pertaining to company valuation will be tested. So when it comes to valuing a public limited company or a limited liability company against a startup, the way in which you should approach these type of questions are quite different, because the way in which you value a startup and a stable company, or a company which is a PLC or a public limited company, is quite different. So I've made sure to cover all different angles with regards to company valuation within the 6 mock exams. And we might opt to pay additional dividends. If so, you need to know what we need to focus on, what we need to get right when going for an additional dividend. And your knowledge pertaining to 6 capitals, which comes under integrated reporting, will definitely be tested at the exam, because there's a high level of prominence given towards sustainability within Rotomyne. So because of that, definitely we have to go for sustainability related reporting, which is known as integrated reporting. Thereby your knowledge pertaining to 6 capitals will be tested. And you should also be conversant about how different types of risks faced by the company will impact the share price. And based on these impacts, what we need to do, the type of steps we need to take to manage undue volatility of our share price. And if we go for different types of options, if you are pursuing different types of strategic options, how it will impact our share price, all these things will be tested at the exam. So don't worry, all these elements are covered within the 6 mock exams which we have developed for you. All right, so that's your F3 syllabus. You have to be conversant with each of these syllabus elements, not just the theoretical elements. You need to work on your application skills as well. So having said that, let's move to the mock exam discussion. So I'm going to direct your attention towards a question taken from mock exam 1, section 3, subtask B. All right, so before I proceed with this discussion, if you have any questions or concerns, you can drop me a message via the chat, or you can switch on your mic and talk. I'm going to pause the recording for a while. All right, so I hope I addressed your concern about the beta value. Okay, so let's direct our attention towards section number 3 of mock exam 1. So I'm going to take you through the second subtask. So what appears in the second subtask as well as the third subtask is directly linked to what appears within the first subtask. So I'm going to give you a picture, paint a picture of what this requirement is all about. So we are going for an escrow services provider. We are opting for an escrow services provider because as per this scenario, we had come up with a new type of computer code, and we are trying to share this computer code or this software with the competitors in the market. It's quite normal for if the market is dominated by a limited number of major players, the major players, when they find something new, they will share it with competitors. Why is this the case? Because then it will impact the entire industry in a positive manner. So when the entire industry benefits from a new type of innovation, we are in a position to better provide better services to our clients, and in return we are in a position to charge higher prices, because whenever the quality of our services or our products increase, then we are in a position to charge higher prices. So when you look at an industry such as mining, as per what's highlighted within your pre-seen, 4 companies in which we are one of the major players, 4 companies operate 50% of the market, which indicates the fact that the industry is dominated by 4 main players. When this is the case, it's quite normal for a company, whenever they find something new or whenever they innovate, to share these innovative technologies or knowledge with the remaining major players. So this scenario highlights a similar situation in which we have come up with a better software which can be used within our manufacturing or processing plants. And this software, we are trying to share this software with our competitors. When doing so, we are going for an escrow agreement, thereby opting for services offered by an escrow management company. The company is based in Zealand, in which the currency is the C dollar, and the company's name is V Escrow, and they insist in paid in their home currency, and the currency exchange rate is provided. So the first question tests your understanding about your financing options, understanding about financing options. You are supposed to recommend with reasons how we should finance the initial escrow setup and integration cost of $300 million and the annual escrow management fee of $200 million. So in the reference material, all this information is provided. So if we go ahead with sharing these source codes or sharing this software with third parties, we have to opt for an escrow arrangement. And we have found a party who is capable of providing these escrow services, and they are going to charge us 300 million C dollars and 200 million C dollars in total, thereby charging us C dollars 500 million for initial escrow setup as well as integration and annual escrow management fees. Okay, so that's that. The second subtask is about the covenants of our existing loans forbid us to exceed a gearing of 52%. The board does not intend to issue shares at present as well. Okay, so as per the information presented in here, if we opt for this investment, which comes up to 500 million C dollars, we need to understand how much it is going to be in P dollar terms. Why is this the case? Because our financial statements are in P dollars. So we have to figure out, if we go for this investment, how it will impact our existing gearing ratio. So as per the financial statements, our existing gearing ratio stands at 51%. And with this investment, we need to figure out by how much our gearing is going to increase. So I've highlighted this element in the first part. If we go for this investment by opting for loan financing, it will impact our gearing, and our pre-investment gearing, as per what appears within our financial statements, is 51%. And if we go for this investment, our post-investment gearing, after this investment, our gearing will increase to 55%. So gearing goes beyond the ceiling rate, which is 50%. As you have learned under your F3 syllabus, any company, if it is to be successful in the long term in a financial sense, it makes sense to keep the gearing ratio at 50% or lower. So our pre-investment gearing is higher than the ceiling rate. And at the same time, if we opt for this investment, our gearing increases to 55%, thereby our gearing will further increase in the future. And if this happens, we will be seen as a risky business in the eyes of lenders. And whenever the lenders see a company as a risky business, then they will charge higher interest rates. And when we have to pay high interest rates, our finance costs will increase. And when finance costs increases, our profitability will be impacted in a negative manner. So this is the issue at hand. So this is the answer which I've developed for section number 1. So we have found out, as per section number 1, we have found out that the post-investment gearing is going to be 55%. And in the second requirement, the covenants on our existing loans forbid us to exceed a gearing of 52%. So we are not, supposed to, our gearing is not supposed to go beyond 52% as per the debt covenants or the agreements which we have signed with our existing creditors. However, if we opt for this investment, we will be breaching these type of debt covenants. We are supposed to keep our gearing below 52% as per our debt covenants or debt agreements. However, our post-investment gearing is going to be 55%. Okay, so this is going to be an issue. The board does not intend to issue shares at present as well. So we have no other option but to opt for debt financing. However, if you opt for debt financing, we will end up breaching our debt covenants, because as per what's highlighted within this question, the debt covenants, as per the debt covenants, we should keep our gearing below 52%. But if we opt for debt financing tied to this escrow arrangement, then our gearing will increase to 55% or go beyond what is stipulated within our debt covenants. So let's look at the requirement. You are supposed to recommend with reasons how we should deal with the breach of our debt covenants if we borrow $300 million. So if we borrow $300 million, our debt covenants will be breached. If so, how are we supposed to deal with them? So after you had read through this scenario, your next step should be to gain a clear understanding of the requirement. So with that in mind, you are supposed to reiterate this requirement in your own words in a concise manner or in a simplified manner. So how are you supposed to do it? It's mentioned within the answer plan itself. Section number 3 or task number 3, subtask B is borrowing $300 million, how to deal with breach of debt covenants. So if we borrow $300 million, it will breach our debt covenants. And when faced with such a situation, how should we deal with it? So that's the first step which you should take after reading through the scenario, which is to reiterate the requirement in your own words in a concise manner. After doing so, you are supposed to determine how many marks are allocated for this subtask before you are supposed to work out how many points you need to include within your answer. So the weightage provided is 30% for subtask B. So 30% weightage indicates the fact that 15 marks are allocated for this subtask. So in total, 50 marks are allocated for this entire section. So 30% of 50 marks come up to 15 marks in total. And as I mentioned earlier, each valid point carries 2 or 3 marks. So in order to get 15 marks, you need to come up with 5 to 7 valid points in your answer. Since each valid point carries 2 or 3 marks, in order to gain 15 marks in totality, you need to come up with 5 to 7 valid points within your answer. Okay, so now you know how many points you need to include within your answer plan. Based on that, let's try to figure out how you should structure the answer, or in other terms, how you should develop the answer plan. So let me direct you to the relevant area. So I've come up with a main heading which goes as debt covenant, which is in bold and underline format. So as per what's highlighted within your F3 syllabus, if we had signed agreements with our creditors, or in other terms, if we had gone for debt covenants when opting for loans, if we had signed agreements, then we should not breach these agreements. And as per what's highlighted within the requirement, or this scenario rather, we have signed debt covenants, which indicates the fact that we should not go beyond 52% when considering the gearing ratio. However, if we go for this investment, then it will expose us to a situation where we end up breaching the debt covenants. So we should not violate the covenants without approval from creditors. So we cannot blindly take steps to opt for debt if we end up breaching debt covenants. Instead, what we need to do is to get in touch with the creditors and tell them, look here, if we go for this investment, our debt covenants, your debt covenants will be breached. And when these debt covenants are breached, we need to explain to them how it will impact our company as well as the creditors. And on top of that, if possible, we need to negotiate with them and try and change these debt covenants. And when trying to change these debt covenants, we need to explain to them about the logic behind these investments. We need to explain to them as to why we intend to spend $300 million with the intention of sharing this technology with other players in the market. So we should not violate covenants without approval from creditors. So if we are poised to breach these covenants, we have to always keep the creditors informed about such initiatives. Because if we breach the covenants, then if we go against the debt agreements, then we are responsible towards the creditors. We are supposed to return our funds instantaneously to the creditors. So if we breach the covenant, it will lead to an immediate return of funds. And when doing so, when trying to return the money owed to our creditors, it will lead to asset seizures. And asset seizures in the long run will lead to company dissolution. So when the creditors seize our assets, then we'd have to dissolve our company. And this is a situation where we end up not just giving the money owed to the creditors, we will have to compensate the shareholders as well. And this is a situation where although we have been operating within this industry for a long period of time, our company is dissolved, and parts of our company will be sold to competitors, or these creditors will take over our company. So in the long run, there won't be a Rotomyne in the future. So we have to make sure that we do not breach these debt covenants. If so, because if we breach these debt covenants, we'd have to return the money instantaneously, and this will lead to asset seizures and company dissolution. And Rotomyne can explain the issue of enforcing debt covenants, because if we breach these debt covenants, and if creditors try to seize our assets, this will lead to negative publicity. And in the long run, when this negative publicity will lead to the company being shut down in the future, as I mentioned earlier. And on top of that, liquidating assets might only cover a small portion of our outstanding debts. So this will definitely expose the creditors to some issues when it comes to recovering the monies due, because just because the creditors want to recover the monies due by liquidating our assets, they won't gain access to the amount owed in its entirety, because just by selling the assets, they won't be in a position to raise the necessary funds. So this will expose not just us to financial issues in the future, this will also expose the creditors to financial issues in the future, because just because they try to seize our assets, they won't be in a position to recover amounts due fully. And we are trying to borrow 900 million P dollars. So in C dollar terms, as per this question, we are borrowing 300 million, which is in C dollar terms, which is tied to initial escrow setup and integration, which is a capital expenditure. The annual escrow management fee is a revenue expenditure. So this $200 million is not considered as part and parcel of long-term funding. Instead, the only type of long-term funding is tied to the setup and integration cost, which comes up to $300 million. So in C dollar terms, it's 300 million. However, as per the exchange rate provided, 1 C dollar equals to 3 P dollars. So in P dollar terms, or in our home currency terms, the investment comes up to $900 million. So when borrowing $900 million, as I mentioned earlier, we have to seek approval from our creditors, especially given the fact that our gearing is going to increase above or go beyond 52% or the debt covenants. So when seeking approval from creditors, we should try and see whether we can sign new agreements, and we should seek consent of our creditors to modify the existing gearing threshold, so we can deal with or negotiate with our existing creditors and tell them, look here, we are trying to do something new which is going to benefit the company. If it benefits the company, we will return the amounts due. We will repay loans on time. So with this in mind, although the existing debt covenant is a gearing ratio of 52%, we can negotiate with them and say, we can ask them to increase these debt covenants beyond 55%. And also, when negotiating with them, we can always tell them that our pre-investment gearing was 51%. As I mentioned earlier, the gearing ceiling is supposed to be 50% or less. However, as per our financial statements concerning the years 2023 and 2024, we have operated with a gearing ratio of 51%, which is slightly above the threshold or the ceiling, which indicates the fact that we are successfully managing a gearing ratio even if it is above 50%. So when negotiating with our creditors with the intention of changing these agreements pertaining to the gearing ratio, we can always tell them, look here, we have been operating in the past 2 years with a gearing ratio of 51%, which is above the normal gearing ceiling. Still, we have been successful. So because of that, even if we change these agreements where the gearing ratio moves above 55%, we can always say that we'd be comfortable as a business because we've been comfortable in the past, although having a gearing ratio of 51%. And we can also try and persuade creditors to ease covenant terms because we are going for new investment, and this leads to increased equity and cash flows, definitely, because this new investment will lead to additional returns because we are sharing our proprietary technology with other players within this industry, which will lead to an additional revenue stream. And on top of that, when we are exposed to an additional revenue stream, investors will start investing on our shares and our share price will increase in the future. And if that is the case, when there is a high level of demand for our shares, if we are in need of additional cash flows or investments in the future, we can easily opt for a rights issue, or we can go for a general share issue in the future. So this new investment leads to probable increases in equity in the future, and definitely the cash flows are going to increase because we are going to benefit from an additional revenue stream. And increased revenues, we will also be exposed to increased revenues because due to the introduction of this new technology, risk of defaults will decrease significantly because we are trying to fix one of the problems which are highlighted within the pre-scene. This is highlighted within the reference material. I don't have the time to take you through the entire reference material. I will share after this session via the WhatsApp group. I will share the discussion which I conducted in the previous workshop, which we conducted in November, in which I've taken you through the answer pertaining to section 3, subtask A. Once you watch this video, you'd understand what I'm talking about with regards to defaults. So when we are exposed to additional cash flows, additional revenues, and with because of this new investment, if you are in a position to attract new investors, it will reduce the risk of defaults, which will impact the creditors in a positive manner, because creditors will love to work with a company which pays them on time. And also, when trying to persuade creditors, always we have to go for debt restructuring if possible. Debt restructuring is a situation where we try to negotiate more favorable loan terms. So if we opt for debt restructuring, we can ask the existing creditors to extend the credit periods so that we have a longer period to repay them. Or on the other hand, we can renegotiate loan terms or the terms which are stipulated within the creditor agreements, thereby trying to reduce the interest rates, and at the same time trying to rework the clauses which appear within the contract, because this question is focused on debt covenants or contractual terms which appear within the contracts which we have signed with creditors. So when we opt for debt restructuring, we can change these debt covenants and get rid of this clause which says that we should not go beyond, our gearing should not go beyond 52%. We can renegotiate it and increase this threshold. And if we go for a debt restructuring, then we can extend the payment terms. If so, the risk of a covenant breach will reduce significantly. And this is good for creditors as well, because all of a sudden, simply because of the fact that we breached a debt covenant, if we are supposed to repay the amounts owed, then these creditors are losing interest income, because when you pay early, the creditors are losing interest income. So let's assume a certain creditor is supposed to be paid across 20 years, and across these 20 years, the creditor will benefit from interest income, because we are supposed to pay interest when we opt for a loan. However, all of a sudden, if we are trying to go for, and if since we have breached a debt covenant, if you're trying to repay the amounts due instantaneously, then the creditor will not benefit from interest payments spread across 20 years. So, going for a debt restructuring is better for creditors, rather than us having to repay the amounts due, which is not good for our company, because then we'd have to end up selling our assets. And at the same time, it's not good for the creditors, because it makes absolutely no sense when they recover cash due, when they can benefit from interest payments in the future. And such debt restructuring is good for Rotomyne as well, because we won't have to pay early repayment penalties, because whenever we, let's assume that we have signed a loan for 20 years. However, if we want to settle the loan instantaneously, we will definitely have to pay early repayment penalties, which is the norm. And we can avoid this by going for debt restructuring. And on top of that, we will benefit from relaxed gearing constraints, especially given the fact that our existing gearing is above the ceiling of 51%. So all in all, the logic behind this answer is to, I've explained what you need to do when it comes to dealing with the creditors. Our objective should not be to avoid this investment simply because of the fact that the covenants are breached, which are tied to the gearing ratio. So simply because of the fact that our post-investment gearing is going to be 55%, we should not avoid this investment. This investment is going to add a lot of value to our company and our industry as a whole. So in such an environment, rather than disregarding this investment, our job as the management of the company is to talk to the creditors, explain them about the situation, and try to go for debt restructuring, or try to change these covenants which appear under the contracts which we have signed with them. So we should not keep mum about it. Instead, the best approach to adhere to is to keep these creditors informed about it and negotiate with them. And I've also highlighted what we need to do with regards to or how we should conduct these negotiations with the intention of benefiting not just us, but our creditors as well. Okay, so this is a question which is intended to test your understanding about debt covenants. You will gain a greater level of understanding of the logic behind this answer once you had gone through the answer which I've explained under funding options, which appear under task 3, subtask A. Since I've already covered this question, since I've already explained this question last November, I didn't take you through the same answer. So go watch the recorded version. I will share it after this webinar. Once you have watched the recorded version, you will gain a better level of understanding of the logic behind this answer. Okay, so that's what I wanted to highlight. And I'm happy to say that we achieved a 90% pass rate in our previous sitting, which was conducted in November 2024. And those who stuck to our study plan achieved easily achieved more than 90 marks when the pass mark was just 80. Okay, so stick to our study plan, stick to our 3-step study process, which is to attempt the mock exam, watch master classes, and redevelop answer plans. And once you stick to this approach across the 6 mock exams, you can walk into the exam without any issues, without any fears, and with a higher level of confidence. Having said that, I'm moving to the Q&A. Let me pause the recording. All right, folks, thank you for those questions. Okay. Thank you for the positive feedback, Pam. Glad to help. So I'm happy that we have been discussing for the past hour, and I hope I addressed all your concerns and the only way to improve your skill set, because if as per the answers which I provided and as per the questions which you have highlighted, everything's tied to your answering technique or the way in which you should approach each type of a question and how you should develop the answer. So it's all down to attempting each mock exam under exam conditions, and your preparations should not stop there. Watch the master classes to learn theory and improve application, and also focus your attention towards redeveloping answer plans on your own. And when you do so, you are not just taking steps to learn theory and application. You are also taking steps to make sure that everything is in your head. You are taking steps to make sure that you are capable of replicating answer plans which are totally aligned with TCS's answer plans. And when conducting your revision, don't try to memorize the answer plans. Instead, try to get the logic of each answer, because you won't get the same type of scenarios at your examination. Instead, the scenarios will be different. However, the way in which you should approach each syllabus element will be quite the same. So try to get the logic behind each answer. If so, you will be successful at your real exam. So, stick to our 3-week study plan. If you're yet to start prep, you have enough time. If you stick to our 3-step study process focused on each mock exam, you will pass for sure at your real examination. So don't wait until the last moment. Start your preparations from Monday itself, if possible, and complete all the activities which appear within the 3-week study plan. And after this session, I will share it via the WhatsApp group as well. So if you want to contact us, you can do it via our website, which is www.study@tcs.com. Visit our website and click on the contact button and drop your message. Our admin staff will get in touch with you via email during office hours. And you can email us at info@study@tcs.com, and also WhatsApp us on this number. I invite you guys to follow us on our social handles, especially YouTube and TikTok, because the recorded versions of the webinars and workshops are shared on our YouTube handle. And via TikTok, you would gain access to a set of videos, which is a good pre-seen mind map. So in the upcoming weeks, for instance, on your way to office, keep watching these TikTok videos so that you constantly keep yourself reminded about what appears within your pre-seen document. So thank you very much for joining this workshop. I hope you gained something, a good understanding of how to tackle questions to do with your F3 syllabus. And I hope in the upcoming weeks, you will be disciplined and stick to our study plan and do all the hard yards in the upcoming 3 weeks. If so, you can relax towards your examination week. So thank you for joining. I expect to see you guys in our next workshop, in which I'm going to take you through your P3 syllabus, just like how I tackled F3 in this session. So thank you for joining. I'll see you guys next Saturday. See you and take care.